Hello viewers and welcome to round number 5 of the AOR V8 Supercars Championship around Circuit of the Americas, West version. Now this track, wow, you have to know something about this track. The curbs, here we go, this curb. Not too bad that one, but a lot of the curbs around here are absolutely shocking. You really do have to be on edge driving around here, especially around this S's section. I don't like what they've done really with this track. They've tried to incorporate the best aspects of other circuits. So this is obviously a copy of Maggots Beckett section at Silverstone. It doesn't really have the same effect though when you put them all together into one track. Taking all the best aspects of other tracks and putting them into one, it doesn't really work. It seems very artificial, and the curbs make it even worse around here. You have to be so careful. This corner here, one of the trickiest ones to get on the throttle nice and early as you're still turning whilst getting on the throttle. The car is very liable to getting a lot of oversteer on the exit there. Same goes for this corner here, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and pretty much all of them to be honest. But this is my best lap. Out of the 5, the third lap was my best one. In practice I did a 1:36.6, so I was aiming to try and get into the 1:36s, which would be good. I only did 10 laps practice, so not very many at all. I really ought to do more, but I just don't get enough time to do it these days. So hopefully if I can spare myself an hour, I will do a practice session. I do often just start an open online lobby where people can join, and I will just practice the AOR track that's coming up. But that was my best lap there, a 1:37.0, which puts me 7th, once again behind T6 Bullet and Shadow Demon on the grid. I think that's pretty much the same order as it was in the previous round, but we are going to go to the start here. So I'm on the outside of the grid, so hopefully I don't stall, which is one of my targets for the season, and off we go. That is T6 Bullet not getting a good start at all. He said he didn't actually stall, he just forgot to accelerate. Not sure how he managed that. But as we go into turn 1, defending from run bum in the Volvo, he doesn't make contact with me. Very good driving from him. Further back, a lot more chaotic. That was T6 Bullet going round, my main tier 2 rival for the championship. So as much as I don't like to profit out of others' misfortune, that does help me in the championship race as it stands. It makes the race a little bit more comfortable knowing that he is a lot further behind. But this is early days yet. It's still an hour long, this race, so he could easily catch up in that time. So we have to still try and lap the best we can. Behind Shadow Demon now, up to 6th, looking for 5th position. I got the inside. The move isn't going to happen here, but I get a decent run on the exit, and I'm going to look for a move around the outside as I do here, forcing him very narrow, and he has to slow down to avoid an accident there, putting him in a very compromising position, and he actually yields the position. So I'm up into 5th, looking at the back of the top 4, who are very hard to keep up with. The top 4 drivers in this league are very quick, and I'm just not quite on the pace with them at the moment. So this is what I'll go back to about the practice. I really ought to practice a little bit more. I'm not miles off of these guys, but if I practice and got, let's say, half a second a lap quicker, which obviously sounds like a lot, but if I practice I think I could do that, then I would be quite a lot closer. Normally by the end of the race, or the end of these races, I'm about 30 or so seconds behind, which equates to about half a second every minute, so maybe about 3/4 of a second a lap. So if I could gain myself a couple of tenths, I would be a lot closer. But here we go, the end of lap number 3. This is the situation. I was pulling away from Shadow Demon. T6 Bullet was coming through the group there, and this is the situation at the end of lap 7. So McFarlane there actually pulling away slightly. The top 4 getting away. I wasn't too far off them, but this is the situation now at the end of lap 10. T6 Bullet has got himself through up to 6th, so it didn't actually take him too long to get from where he was. I think he went down to about 12th, and he did very well to get back up to 6th, and he's only about 1,200 feet behind. That's how I measured the gap. As I crossed the line, he was 1,200 feet behind, and I kept using that as a gauge to judge exactly how far behind he was. So we're going to run here through lap number 11. We're going to go through the S's here, go flying through this first bit, brake nicely for the second bit, just keeping it very tidy over the curves basically, Don't want to accelerate too much, otherwise you'll create yourself a lot more problems. It's best to hold off that throttle as much as you can. That chicane there, you really can cut that quite a lot without the track without it going into a dirty lap. So this is the situation at the end of lap 18. T6 Bullet, I think I gained a little bit slightly over him over the last couple of laps. He goes into the pits and I go past, I think it was Shuffle who went into the pits as well. This is my pit stop 1 lap later at the end of 19, exactly halfway through the race. On the exit here, Shadow Demon followed me into the pits, so he's going to drop behind a little bit more. Rapids F1 moving up to 7th temporarily, but Urban's Octane taking over 7th. He hadn't pitted at this point, so that was an artificial 7th. But we were going to move forward in a moment to see exactly the gap that developed over T6 Bullet after the pit stop phase. So this is the most important phase of the race, usually, the pit stops, just to see exactly how the gaps change. You can gain positions if you're right behind people through the pit stops if you get a good outlap. So after that couple of laps there, I was about 1,400 feet ahead of T6 Bullet as I crossed the start line, so gaining about 200 feet over the last couple of laps. A little bit wide into turn 1, wasn't very consistent around there. It's quite an easy one to get right actually. You just have to brake on the 100 meter board whilst turning in, and remember to get yourself on about 70% of brake input, and you will hit that apex if you get that right. It's quite an easy one to get right, but I just wasn't concentrating really. So coming through this section, very tricky to get right. The car bottoming out at quite a lot of times there, and going straight on as the car didn't want to turn. So Rumbum quitting the race there, my fellow Volvo racer, who was doing quite well initially. Not sure what happened to him at one stage there. He was up to 6th, I think, at one point. And I go wide here, making a couple of mistakes. This happens in the race for me quite a lot, probably too much. I get a little bit complacent, start making mistakes, start not concentrating properly, and I lose a couple of seconds here and there because of it. Now this is lap 27, and this is what I mean by the curbs. You really don't want to drop a wheel the wrong side of the curb, because this can happen. Very nearly sliding out into the wall there. Managed to correct it and get myself turned in for the final turn just in time. But it's when you dip your outside wheels just onto the edge of the curb, that is a recipe for chaos. You just do not want to do that. Avoid that at all costs. It's better just to drive a bit wider onto the artificial grass, if anything, just to avoid the chance of getting wheel spin. So coming through on lap 30, I've got a very nice surprise that I come through into the chicane. This is Phil, and he's had himself a very nasty accident, and once again he seems to have crashed himself out of the race, and unfortunately that has killed his prospects of finishing in the top 4 in this race. But this is going to be the story of the season, I think. I'm going to be the one who profits out of the mistakes out of the top 4, and unfortunately for Phil it was him this time. But the race must continue, so I'm up into 4th, a free position. Don't mind that, but as I'm saying, it's always going to be a case of trying to profit out of anyone's mistake. There could be at least 11 other people who could be the one who profits, but as long as I'm the one in 5th when it happens, then I'm going to be the one who profits the most. So this is the end of lap 38. From lap 30 you just saw up to now, there wasn't much change. T6 Bullet did reel me in slightly. I was a little bit complacent given the gap I had, a couple of seconds at least, which was fairly comfortable to be honest. So I was not really racing the best I could. So in the end, it's going to be a comfortable 4th from a mostly very lonely race, but that's very solid points in the championship. And this is the kind of race where you just really just got to hammer home those points, get the points as many as you can. Just do a solid job in the championship basically. That's pretty much all I could have done in this race. All I could have got is 4th. I wasn't really fast enough to challenge the top 3. They were all 30 seconds ahead of me. There was no chance of catching up with them. So 4th was realistically the best position I could have got, and I achieved it, so I'm pleased with that. So we're going to go to the final results here. It was a very close race up the front. Shuffle managing to defend from Sam for most of that race. Kerry slightly behind, and then me 30 seconds back, and then T6 Bullet doing well to regain his position of 5th there, after that initial chaos, as you can see, on turn 1. But that's going to be the end of the video, guys, from me. Let me know your thoughts on the race. I thank you very much for watching, as always. As for the dirt videos, the dirt rally videos, I'll be alternating between the two. So I think someone asked, are you giving up on dirt rally just because I posted one Forza video again? No, I will be going back to both games, so don't worry if you're a dirt rally fan, I will be doing both at the same time. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Subscribe if you want to see more of the same, hit the like button, and she'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, goodbye.